What's going on? What's going on? Good morning to you. First and foremost, thank you for tuning into the Cigars with Mac podcast. Oh, man. Today, I want to talk about the failure of the black church. Yeah. Today I'm smoking a La Roma de Cuba Mi Amor. But before we get started, if you have any show topics or if you'd like to be a guest, whatever, hit me up at info@cigarswithmacpod.com. That is info@cigarswithmacpod.com. Also, you can hit my podcast phone line, 682-227-1780. That's 682-227-1780. If you want to hit the Cash App to support the podcast, it's $Cigars with Mac. $Cigars with Mac. Anyway, I was looking at a video earlier. It's from a brother. His name is Philip Scott. Philip Scott been a YouTuber for a long time, and he has an array of channels. So he has a pretty wide portfolio of content. Anyway, I want to play his video. I can stop and start it, kind of give some commentary, but he really broke it down. I've never seen it broken down quite that way before, and I like the way he broke it down. So let's go ahead and listen to his video. I may stop it and start it periodically, but Philip did a great job of breaking it down. Philip actually lives in, he's not too far from me. He lives in Houston, Texas. His channels have grown, and he puts out pretty decent content, pretty good content if you ask me. All right, let's check it out, y'all. Sorry about that. I'm gonna play it on my phone. All right. I didn't want to do it on my phone because, oh man, what the heck is? I didn't want to do it on my phone because people call, so I didn't want to have to send them to ignore. But I'm doing a podcast now, so I guess I have to. All right, let's check out Brother Philip Scott.
Need financing for a vehicle or financial assistance with late auto payments? Don't have the money to your rent or mortgage? Now, many people, 4 different packages. Well, there's reports that black churches nationwide are on decline and many of them are closing. Now, many people, including myself, is actually glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that not because I am a heathen. I'm glad to hear that not because I have a hatred for God or something like that. I'm definitely not no kind of atheist. I believe in God wholeheartedly. I believe in the scriptures. And I believe that if we follow at least just the majority of what's in the scriptures, our life would be a lot better, because from what I read in there, I can't really find much to say that it steered me in the wrong path when I live by the principles that even I guide myself and even our business in. Now, the black church has collected billions of dollars from the black community for a while now, and very little has gone back into building up the black communities. But some people say that the black church's closing pose a serious problem, and they claim that it can be considered a public health crisis. See, this is what I'm about to get into. Now, the black church is not what it used to be.
No, it's
years ago. The black church was the meeting ground for the grassroots. This is why the white supremacists would bomb churches, would attack people at churches, etc.
Many people would say that this day and time, the Ku Klux Klan or any white racist terrorist group would actually give black people money to build churches. You see, he is so correct. He is so correct about what are these black churches doing, what have they done. You see, I compare the black churches to what we would call the LDS or Latter-day Saints or the Mormons. You see, the Mormons own so much enterprise that people don't even know about. I used to work for a Mormon-based trucking company, which is the #1 trucking company in the U.S. They are called Swift Trucking. Anyway, the Mormons have, they've been around for a long time, and the Mormons, they have enterprise. Is it wrong that they have businesses? No, it's not. In fact, while we're here, and I'm gonna go through some stuff that they own. It'll surprise you. But anyway, yes, like he said, the black church, they're closing their doors, and I'm happy. Didn't know this, guys, but JetBlue Airways is owned by the Mormon Church, the LDS. SkyWest Airlines is owned by, guess who? The Mormon Church. Black & Decker Corporation is owned by who? You know it, the Mormon Church. Marriott Hotels. That's right. Marriott Hotels is owned by who? The Mormon Church. Wow. It says that they are a part of airlines, manufacturing, hotel, malls, newspapers, entertainment, clothing, real estate, technology. Oh my God, they're into everything. I don't know if y'all know, but JetBlue is America's 7th largest airline. They are particularly a major low-budget airlines in the country. Wow, this is crazy. Also, they own Union Pacific Railroad, which is one of the biggest railroads. And Mormons don't even consider themselves Christians, but they are a religious-based organization. So let me rephrase that. Let's continue.
Right? Because that's what they will strategize to put foot on the pavement.
Yes.
To strategize boycotts and anything else that black people wanted to strategize or help, do things even in the community itself. The church was a place for that. The reason why a church is on attack today in the black community, because it is not doing that anymore. It is not the meeting place for the grassroots. The church today, after the civil rights movement, when they came up with the nonprofit status, and to be part of a nonprofit status, they said that you could not get involved with politics. But we've seen down the line, it was one form of politics that were allowed into the black church. And we know that form of politics would be the Democrat Party. We know the preachers sold out the black community. It goes all the way back to the Negro Project with Margaret Sanger. Right now we're talking about the Supreme Court making a decision to take the issue of deletion of children and taking it back and letting the states make that decision. But you have to understand, Margaret Sanger and her Negro Project was a eugenics project meant to cull the herd of the black population. And Margaret Sanger was very successful, and she became successful by going through black preachers in Harlem and black nurses and doctors. Do you understand me? Margaret Sanger would not be successful with the Negro Project if she did not go through that black preacher. See, that black preacher been selling us out for a long time, brothers and sisters. Then you look at how these preachers today, they all about getting money, hustling. But notice, they the only one getting money, but the people in the crowd, they're not getting money at all. These guys got millions of dollars, private jets, mansions, you name it. But the people are still struggle 99. The Democrat Party comes in there every year to promote themselves to the black community.
And that's what I find fascinating about the black church. Growing up in the black church, I can remember pastor and wife anniversaries. It seems like they were the only ones eating. And it's like they would try to guilt you into giving money, but it's like you decided to become a pastor. They were saying God called. It wasn't their choice. You had a choice. You did have a choice. You didn't have to do that. Nobody told you to do that. It's like when I put on my podcast, my Cash App. People can decide whether they want to donate or not. It's not a big deal to me. People can decide, but nobody's making me do a podcast. I would never get on here and say, God called me to do a podcast. That's foolishness, and that's a complete lie. That's a complete lie. And, I'm not going to do that, Did y'all know that the LDS, as of 2020, the Mormon Church has a damn near $40 billion stock portfolio? Why does the black church not own any businesses? Why can we not be employed by our own? See, we should have just created a conglomerate like the LDS, Latter-day Saints, created our own sector, and started enterprising from there. That's what we should have done. And we can still do it. We can still do that. Although I'm not a Christian anymore, but I would support this. I would back this. Do you think that Mormons are only allowing Mormons to run their companies? No, they have probably non-LDS members. And if they do have only LDS members, that's great. That's what you should be doing. But I just find it sickening that you have homeless people in the church. Because me and my mother were homeless at one time while attending church, living with people. So, my sympathy level for the black churches is low, because many people will give excuses and say, oh, black people are not financially literate. That's a lie. Many people say we don't know. That's another lie. You think people like T.D. Jakes doesn't know about finances? Of course he does. You think men like black pastors like Jamal Bryant don't know anything about finances? Yes, he does. You better believe when he comes to your event to speak, he's charging thousands of dollars for him to speak. And it seemed like in the black church, the only people that were on top was the pastor and his own, but everybody else was struggling. I'm not okay with that. With every situation in life you deal with, people, you should always want to win. And you should want those who are connected with you to win also. Because if everyone is winning, there's really no need for jealousy. If it is jealousy, it won't be at an all-time high. It'll be so low to the point where you won't even notice it. But whenever you have it to where only the pastor and his family are at the top, then we got a problem. That's when you start seeing scandals and people start exposing things, and it just gets real nasty. Because everybody's not eating. It's not fair. And I know life isn't fair. And as I was always taught, fair is not always equal, and equal is not always fair. So let me finish playing.
Why the black community has been so bogged down with the Democrats, your black preacher has made sure of that by allowing every Democrat politician to come into your church house and speak to you saying they're going to do something for you. And without question, many people in these church houses fall in line and go and vote for the Democrat Party. Then when it came to the time of the pandemic, many of your churches, lined up for that. And the reason why a lot of young people, definitely in my generation for sure, Gen Xers, you have millennials and etc., while we so turned off by the church, is that the church, the black church, propped up Joe Biden, propped up Bill Clinton.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we was duped, man. We were duped. I'll be honest with you. I think churches should stay the fuck away from politics. Especially the black church, especially the black community. Politics has done black people no good. We need to be race first, business first. That's the way we should operate henceforth. Until we can get that right, politics means nothing, because politics is about one thing, people: money. And we should most definitely be enterprising.
Propped up Barack Hussein Obama, propped up Hillary Clinton, any kind of Democrat that you could see that haven't done anything for black folk, they have propped them up. The black church does not address issues in the black community. They don't call out racism, white supremacy. We talking about as a whole. We're not talking about a few preachers here and there that's doing it. I know of a few preachers that are doing it. I'm not speaking about them, but I'm speaking about the collective. See, when I talk, I'm talking about the collective. I'm not talking about the anomalies. You understand? Because I know many people say, well, this preacher do that and that preacher do that. No. We talking about the collective here. The collective, okay?
Facts.
You don't speak up against racism, white supremacy.
Nope.
You're supposed to be a moral authority in the earth.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know how a person could be a Christian, especially a black Christian, and be black first. It's diametric. Both messages diametrically oppose one another. Because if you're a Christian, especially a black Christian, you're taught European Roman ideology in that Bible, pretty much. But I don't want to go into that. That's a whole other podcast. But I just feel like, and the thing about black people is we look at the Bible, especially those of us that are black Christians. We look at the Bible as a historical reference when it has no history whatsoever in it at all. There's nothing historical about the Bible. None of the characters in the Bible can even be traced back to that they even were ever lived. There's no evidence. Because one thing about human beings is we keep records. When you look at the pyramids in Egypt, in Africa, there's recorded data, recorded knowledge through all that history, all throughout the Catholic Church, all throughout Islam, all throughout Hinduism, Buddhism. There's historical references and data like that people. One thing about human beings is we keep records and data of everything since the beginning of time. But that's neither here nor there.
To the scriptures, you're supposed to be a moral authority even in the black community. Let's call it what it is. You have a deep rebellious spirit in the black community. You can't tell black people nothing except to what they want to hear. Because if you don't tell black people what they want to hear, male and female, now all of a sudden you hate them because you don't tell them what they want to hear. You tell black men about themselves, they say, oh, you don't like brothers. You tell black females about themselves, oh, you hate black women. Nobody can tell you nothing. And this preacher know that. That's why he don't tell you nothing. This is why you can go up in his church house and have a church house full of single mothers and continually have single mothers in there and not being told what's causing a single parent household, not speaking against that, not calling for families, not talking about what we should be doing as a community. We're not talking about anything about how we could come out of what we got going on. That should be in that church house. But that preacher today know if I want to get that bag out of most of these women that's in this church, because a lot of black men already hip to the game. See, black men don't go to church. Some of you ladies say my husband won't go to church with me because we know a pimp when we see one. Why we gonna go in there and watch a pimp get money and sleeping with women? And then the preachers are not even held to account, right? These preachers are known to be sleeping with this woman, and that woman, not married, making babies. Some of them are married, making babies, and they still get to be in that pulpit. And those women that go to that church house will still support them. That black preacher can get away with anything he want to get away with.
That's right.
Now, I hear all this, smoke about Kevin Samuels. That black preacher should be getting more smoke than anything that Kevin Samuels even said. Right, wrong, or indifferent. But this preacher don't get any smoke. But yet he getting all the money. So black men are be like, hell no. Let me tell you something. When you lose the support of black men, when black men turn away from you, even if the women prop you up and support you, it's only a matter of time that you're going to crash and burn. Because if you don't have the men behind you in your community, or whatever you got going on is going to fail. And one thing about men, when men really want to get at you as a collective, and when men are forceful in what they're saying, eventually even the women going to start backing away from you. See, this black preacher for a long time, see, black men, what we decided to do as a collective, we just decided to basically pull our support away from the black preacher, walk away from him, and not say a whole lot. But I'm a firm believer of being very loud against a black preacher, because these black preachers ain't crap in the black community. You got these churches on every corner, and they don't address the crime. They don't talk about Pookie and Ray Ray. They don't do anything. They side with these folks against the community in many ways. These preachers, just so they can get a bag. So yes, during the pandemic, when they had said your church got to close, that was a good thing. You should have seen how they were begging some of them. Now, what they do in the white community, I don't address them and what they do in their church. I don't care. I'm only going to talk about what black people are doing and what we got going on in our community. Close every door of them churches if you're not doing nothing. Because you know what? If that black church was right for what they were doing, with that 501c3, you can literally turn around the black community and say, hey, look, we all going to pool our money together. We're gonna start some schools. We're gonna start health care centers. We're gonna start daycares. Yep. We're gonna do grocery stores. We're gonna do everything we can because we can pull everybody in. And trust me, if people saw group economics being practiced underneath a 501c3, basically we can put our money together in some nonprofit and actually make a profit and actually helping the black community and providing jobs in the black community. Trust me, I would be a big proponent of the black church.
Do you think the Mormon church is concerned about food shortages? Not at all. A lot of that stuff we see on TV is to scare you. The LDS ain't worried about no food shortages. I can tell you that right now. They're not. They're not worried about it. See, black people, we're always getting caught with our tails between our legs. We're always reactive instead of proactive. And that's what we got to start being, is proactive. Like being on these black churches' head, man, because it's old now. The days of this shit has got to stop. I walked away from the church over 10 years ago and have not regretted it yet. I have not regretted it because it was the best decision for me and my family. Best decision. And see, what I find sad is that with the black church's doors closing, that's the best thing for us, man. And you got to ask yourself, besides a few scholarships, what is really the black church really doing? What have they done now? In the past 60 years, what have they really done? We're coming up on 70 years that the black church has really been useless. And, you know, like I just named a few companies that the Mormons own. There are people there who worked there who are now Mormons. Of course, we know that. But, you know, what are we doing as a collective? That's about all I'm gonna play on that video. I don't want to have my whole video about that. I really don't. But I just wanted to just kind of let y'all hear where I'm getting my content from today. Who sparked this idea? Because, man, the black church has failed us. Straight up. And also, we are solely responsible too, because we're not children anymore. We're grown-ups. We know better. Like I said, I walked away from the church 10 years ago. Cold turkey. I'll go visit a church if it's like an event, somebody invites me, but I'm not just a church member and anything like that. No. I think for myself. And see, the thing about it, a lot of what this brother hit on was how these pastors can have babies out of wedlock. They don't really talk about the destruction of the family, because let's be honest, black families collectively, the family structure is null and void. Now, I do have a few ideas as to how we could fix that. And if you'd like to talk about that, hit me up. info@cigarswithmacpod.com or 682-227-1780. Yeah. And the thing about the black church that really saddens me the most is that those preachers are so easily bought and paid for. Easily compromised. I've seen a few churches where they're trying to have banks now, but that's not really doing much. We need infrastructure. We should have been had the black church, or should have been had a Fortune 500 company a long time ago. The black church should have been had a university, a Division I university. HBUs don't necessarily constitute for that, in my opinion, because most HBCUs were named after former slave owners. So that does us no good, really, people, in my opinion. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But the Black Church is an organization that needs to be held accountable. And I don't use that word very much. But when you start talking about an institution that preaches accountability, well, then I got to hold you accountable. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's how I feel about the whole situation. But anyway, guys, I'm going to hit this topic again. There will be a part 2. I kind of want to just get everybody interested first, kind of, get the conversation started. And anyway, man, I enjoyed this podcast. There will be a part 2. And I'm out. Let a little music play, guys, so you can jam to a little music. Then we're gonna end the show, but I'm gonna let a little music play.